Today, I am joined by my good friend and president and founder of a group called Just Track It, a track day event in the Southeast U.S. And Nabil, thank you so much. Nabil Abashir, thank you for joining us today on Friends of Oak Ridge Motorsports Park. Glad to have you.
Hey, my pleasure. Thank you.
So as you've heard, Nabil, we're working on this track in Oak Ridge, working through the various gates, the regulatory gates and the approval gates. And I wanted to do today's podcast to talk a little bit about a track event and what that means. But before we do that, as a racer, you and I are both racers, what would another track in the Mid-South mean? You've got Barber to the south, you've got NCM to the north, you've got Kershaw and Carolina to the east. What would another track mean in the location of East Tennessee, central to the Mid-South? What's that going to mean to the racers like you and I in the South?
I think it's going to really give us another opportunity to get out to the racetrack. I think that there is quite a lot of desire still that an additional track will help satisfy that demand. It just gives us one more beautiful place to go and drive our cars. And I also believe that there is a lot of anticipation based on what we've seen of the proposed layout. It looks fantastic. And I'm sure I speak for a lot of people. We can't wait for this project to get rolling.
We're all very excited about it. You said an interesting thing there. You said the demand. So that as you're seeing it, your demand for track days and the demand in the car enthusiast community is growing and growing and growing. And there are a limited number of tracks. So are you having scheduling problems getting track days at tracks? And would this alleviate some of that pressure because there'd be a whole nother area?
I wouldn't say we're having problems, but there is a finite number of available weekends at tracks in the Southeast. And right now, it's pretty much at 100%. So adding another track that people want to go to will definitely help people like me and other run groups that want to organize additional weekends for their people.
Absolutely. Well, I'm excited to have your first track day at Oak Ridge Motorsports Park. We're going to have a huge reception and a huge kickoff. Friends of Oak Ridge Motorsports Park is going to have our own garage there. I'm looking forward to that. And so I'll host you at a reception following your first track day at my garage. So let's talk a little bit about that. Tell those, so many in our community in East Tennessee were not familiar with a track day event. Could you tell us about a Just Track It event and what does it look like? What is the car prep involved? What levels of experience are required? How does that day look to a Just Track It participant?
All right, well, that's a great question. First of all, it's important to note that with groups like mine, and we're not the only provider of track days, we host events that are not competitive. It's not racing. It's simply an opportunity for somebody to go out on a racetrack and take it off the streets, first of all. So it enhances safety on public roads because people are able to exercise their sports cars, or even without having a sports car, just your regular sedan, and be able to get out there and not be a danger on public roads. So there's a big community of enthusiasts that want to go and stretch out the legs on their car, and that's what we offer them, that opportunity to do that.
So no particular level of expertise. If it's a beginner, then they could involve, and if it's a pro, then they could participate as well. All levels between.
Pretty much from no prior experience to decades of experience and everything in between. That's what we find. For somebody that's never done it before or is just starting to get into it, we offer instruction in the form of a coach in the car with you, showing you how to be safe and how to get around the track in an efficient and safe manner so that you preserve life and limb as well as your car. And you really don't need a supercar. You don't need a sports car to do this. I mean, you see things like 3 Series BMWs, Ford Mustangs. Of course, there are lots of Corvettes and Camaros out there that join us. but it's a wide variety of cars. You don't
And,
have to have a Ferrari or a Lamborghini.
and most of these drivers drive their car to the track, change the tires in paddock, and or even run on street tires. So these are street legal, licensed and tagged, with typically in some cases stock exhaust systems. So they would be no louder than your regular cars on 285 in Atlanta, right? For a track day.
Yeah, so a lot of people drive their car to the track, don't even worry about changing tires or brakes or anything like that. Basically, drive to the track, have fun, drive home, and
That's awesome.
that. And then, of course, you'll also see some fully prepped race cars as well.
Sure, sure, sure. We'll talk about the event. So drivers arrive in the morning, they have a driver's meeting, and then how does the run groups and the breaks and all that generally work? I know you have three different groups of drivers, right?
We use 4 different groups, so
Okay.
that we can classify people according to their experience a little bit more accurately, so that you're not on track if it's your first time with somebody that's been going to the track for years and is going to be intimidating. There is classroom training provided along with on-track sessions for the novice run group. So they get a little bit of the theory as well as the practical in-car experience with a coach, so that they learn the basics and are able to be safe out there and build skills. And those skills translate into your everyday driving on public roads, which is super important. Another cool thing to note is you need to be 16 or older. So this is a great opportunity for a young driver with practically no road experience to actually learn how to control their car and be a better driver overall.
Keep it safe off the streets and on the track. Absolutely.
Absolutely.
I love that angle.
Absolutely.
And I'll tell you, you and I have raced together for probably 10 years now. I've known you for longer than that. And I'll tell everybody out there, every single time I've been at the track at a competitive race with Nabil, one of the members of the Just Track It family has come by our pit and spent some time with us. Sometimes we even roped them into crewing for us, shared sandwiches with us, Gatorade, brought food for us. It really is a family that you've built at Just Track It. And I love that community that you have. I love the way we cheer for each other. We support each other at these events. You've even gone down to other people's pit stalls when you were not driving our car and coached them a little bit on that particular course for that day. So I love the community that you've built in Just Track It, and how that's kind of a sub community within the racing community. Talk about that a little bit, about how the friendships off the track have evolved from that. That's an important part of auto racing. It's not all just time on the track. It's all the other things that are involved.
It's a full experience, absolutely. My best friends are people that I met through motorsports, and lifelong friendships are developed and maintained through that contact at a race or at a track day. And that's another great thing is, you show up to the event, and even if you show up without knowing anybody, you have a shared interest, a shared passion, and you make new friends. And of course, we show up with a good number of people. So it's exciting to, come into a new town, to a new track, hit the local restaurants and support the local hotels and local businesses. So we're really looking forward to it.
We are too. We are really excited about it. One last question. I know you're going to be over at Road Atlanta this weekend. Talk a little bit about what's going on there. I'm super excited about the team and what we're going to be able to do, but I'd love to see something like that up here. So tell us about the Road Atlanta event you're going to do.
So this weekend, it's not a Just Track It event. It's an actual endurance race, and it's put on by an organization called Champ Car. And basically, it's a race series, an endurance racing series. Our race tomorrow is a 14-hour race. We start at 8 a.m. and go until 10 p.m. at night. And race teams have multiple drivers, and it's an incredible experience. The cool thing about this series, though, is it's not what you see on TV with, highly funded race teams. These are just regular folks that have an old car that they've added safety gear to it and made it suitable for racing by all means these are not high dollar sports cars. These are like the car we're racing this weekend is a 1985 Toyota Supra.
That's right.
So it's 1985. Do the math as to how old that car is. 35 years old.
Right,
And
exactly.
we're going to go out there and race it for 14 hours. This year we'll have 15 different events throughout the year, basically from January through December.
And that schedule's available on your website for people.
On the website, absolutely. And you do have to register in advance. The events get sold out well in advance. So getting in there early is absolutely critical.
Good. And I have been to these before. They definitely are practice social distancing, even during the drivers' meetings. So this is something you can go do. You can learn experience with your car, get your skills that you need, and do it in a very safe fashion on the track and a safe fashion in terms of COVID off the track in terms of social distancing. So Nabil, thank you so much for joining us.
You're welcome, Brian.
Really appreciate it. Best of luck to the team this weekend. Thank you all for joining us today on this podcast. Stay tuned for future podcasts where we'll continue to talk to racers, fans, crews, businesses like Just Track It and others who want to participate in this great experiment at Oak Ridge Motorsports Park. I can't wait for there to be electronic racing and all of the amazing car culture that Nabil talked about, the family of motorsports that you'll be a part of when you go to a Just Track It event. Best of luck at Road Atlanta this weekend. I love that place. Have a good time, go fast, be safe, and we'll talk to you on the other side.
All right, thank you.
Nabil.